అదే శ్లోకాస్ రిసైటేషన్ సారీ శ్లోకాస్ అంటే మన ట్రాన్స్లేషన్స్ అన్ని
ట్రాన్స్లేషన్స్ తర్వాత మీరు శ్లోకాలు చేయండి. వాళ్ళు కార్లో ఉన్నా కూడా జాయిన్ అవుతారు బ్రో వింటర్లే.
అదే శ్లోకాస్ రిసైటేషన్
శ్లోక రిటేషన్ చేసినప్పుడు ఉంటారు, ఆమె కూడా జాయిన్ అవుతుంది. సో యూ ఆల్ డూ శ్లోక ప్రాక్టీస్ ఆల్సో. నేను పిక్ చేసుకుంటా కాబట్టి దే విల్ హియర్ ఫ్రమ్ ఫోన్ శ్లోక. ఇది రీడింగ్ నేను ఇలా హియరింగ్ మోడ్ లోనే ఉంటా, డ్రైవింగ్ లో ఉంటా. మేక్ హోస్ట్ చేస్తున్నాను అండి.
ఇంకోటి ప్రభుజీ రేపు ఆఫీస్ ఉంది ప్రభుజీ నాకు.
అవునా, మీకు ఆఫీస్ ఉందా? మాకు ఫార్మేషన్ డే, అందుకే డివోటీస్ ఇక్కడ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనం సత్యప్రభు వాళ్ళు, తర్వాత ఆ పిల్లలు మహేష్ ప్రభు వాళ్ళ పిల్లలు. వీకెండ్ ఎట్లా, ఎందుకంటే రేపు వాళ్ళు పిల్లలు ఎప్పటి నుంచి అన్నారంటే ప్రవీణ్ ప్రభు వాళ్ళు, లీలాం ప్రభు వాళ్ళు, అట్లా అంతే ఒక 6-7 ఫ్యామిలీలు ప్రభు. మీ ఫ్యామిలీ వచ్చిరా బ్యాక్ హైదరాబాద్? ఓకే ఓకే.
నేను వెళ్ళి తీసుకొచ్చాను రోజు. అంతకుముందు పాప బర్త్డే ఉండే మెట్పల్లి టెంపుల్కి వెళ్ళి అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి ఆ రోజు నేను వచ్చేటప్పుడు తీసుకున్నాను. నేను వెళ్ళి తీసుకొచ్చాను రోజు.
అదే అదే ఓకే ఓకే. యా షూర్ ప్రభు, థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఇంకా హోస్ట్ చేస్తానండి.
ఓకే.
యా యా మీరు హోస్ట్ ప్రభు. మీ కంప్యూటర్ ఓపెన్ చేసిరు కదా, కంప్యూటర్లో ఉన్నదా? యు ఆర్ ఇన్ కంప్యూటర్ ప్రభు? అదే ఎందుకంటే మళ్ళా మొబైల్లో మనకు నావిగేటింగ్ కాదు కదా.
కంప్యూటర్ ప్రభుజీ నేను మోస్ట్లీ ఏంటంటే కొంచెం మా వైఫ్ లేకుండా ప్రభుజీ కుకింగ్ చేసుకుంటూ నేను క్లాస్ విన్నాను. ప్రాపర్గా వినలే ప్రభుజీ లాస్ట్ ఒక 2 weeks. ఆ టైంలో కుకింగ్ అన్నీ
ఓకే. ఏం కాదు. అదే మనకు మొబైల్లో కూడా కనెక్ట్ కావచ్చు, కానీ జస్ట్ హియరింగ్ మోడ్, రీడింగ్ మోడ్ పర్వాలేదు, కానీ ఈ నావిగేషన్ లో అవన్నీ చేయరాదు కదా అట్లా. మీరు ఆల్రెడీ మీ ఇంటి పక్కకే ఒక టెంపుల్ ఉన్నది, ఇంకే ఇంకేంది. ఆయన కూడా బ్రాహ్మణ ఇనిషియేటెడ్, ఆయన కూడా మంచి డివోటీ, మంచి డబ్బులు కూడా ఉన్నాడు
ప్రభుజీ. 5:30కి ఒక్క నిమిషం కూడా అటు ఇటు చేయడు ప్రభుజీ.
5:30 to 6
5:30 to 6 ప్రభుజీ.
అరగంటలో మొత్తం ఏమేం ప్లేయర్లు లేతారు? సంసార దావా,
తర్వాత నరసింహారతి, తర్వాత తులసి, తర్వాత శిష్టాష్టకం, తర్వాత
మొత్తం 5
ప్రభుజీ. హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ అయిపోతుంది ఆల్మోస్ట్.
హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్
35 minutes పడుతుంది ప్రభుజీ. 30 to 35 minutes పడుతుంది ప్రభుజీ.
ఈయన ఉన్నాడా మిశ్రా ప్రవీడ?
విశ్రావతి కూడా వస్తారు ప్రభుజీ.
వాళ్ళ వచ్చిందా మాతో?
ప్రభుజీ
ఆ మాతో వచ్చిందా?
వచ్చింది. వాళ్ళు వచ్చారు 25th వచ్చారు.
ఓకే ఓకే. ఏం స్టడీస్ అప్పుడు లేదా, అందుకే బిజీ ఉన్నాడు. కంపెనీ. సరే ప్రభు, నేను జపాటే పెడతా. నీటు కొంచెం ఫ్రెష్ అప్ పోయి మళ్ళీ. థ్యాంక్ యూ ప్రభు ఫర్ డూయింగ్ దిస్. హరే కృష్ణ.
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौरभक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे राम हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे राम हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram
Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram
Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna
Hare Ram,
Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Radha Govinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mata is Anna Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Gurudev. Actually, Raju Prabhu is going to lead today for readings. I'm in driving actually. I have to pick my wife and kids from railway station. So you all continue, okay? Raju Prabhu, you can start with Mangalacharana prayer and share the screen and you all read translations today. Adilila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, 7th chapter. Translations. So I have sent in a message in the group. Have you all practiced that sloka? Panchatattvatmakam Krishna. Please look at the message and try to do all of you once. Okay? That's important prayer. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shiktikam. So please memorize that and you all do it once that sloka. Then you start after Mangalacharan prayers, you share that Prabhu. You all recite, okay? Then you translations. Very important, okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Mata is.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Mata is. Thank you for joining. So Mangalacharan, I'm starting. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Sharakaya Chashkurum Militam Vena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pachatade Satarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vruddha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So please let me know once it is visible my screen. So is it visible my screen? Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Mata.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Mataji, Samhita, please can you read this one?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Panchatattva.
Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktar Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is not different from his features as a devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, devotional manifestation Nityananda Prabhu, devotional incarnation Advaita Acharya, devotional energy Gadadhara Pandita, and pure devotees Srivasa Pandita, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Is it visible, Mataji? This one?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So please start, Mataji. 10 verses will do. So 10 translation text. Okay. Start,
Chapter
Mataji.
7, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. Text 1. Let me first offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the ultimate goal of life for one bereft of all possessions in this material world, and is the only meaning for one advancing in spiritual life. Thus, let me write about his magnanimous contribution of devotional service in love of God. Let me offer glorification to the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who has taken shelter of his lotus feet is the most glorified person. In the beginning, I have discussed the truth about the spiritual master. Now I shall try to explain the Panchatattva. These 5 tattvas incarnate with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus the Lord executes his Sankirtana movement with great pleasure. Spiritually, there are no differences between these 5 tattvas, for on the transcendental platform, everything is absolute. Yet there are also varieties in the spiritual world, and in order to taste these spiritual varieties, one should distinguish between them. Let me offer my obeisances unto Lord Krishna, who has manifested himself in 5 as a devotee, expansion of a devotee, incarnation of a devotee, pure devotee, and devotional energy. Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, the Supreme Controller. No one is greater than or equal to Sri Krishna, yet he appears as the son of Maharaja Nanda. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the supreme enjoyer in the Rasa dance. He is the leader of the damsels of Raja, and all others are simply his associates. The self-same Lord Krishna advented himself as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with all his eternal associates who are also equally glorious. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the supreme controller, the one personality of Godhead, has ecstatically become a devotee. Yet his body is transcendental and not materially tinged. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Sandhya Mataji, can you read? You're able to read?
Text 11. The transcendental mellow of conjugal love of Krishna is so wonderful that Krishna himself accepts the form of a devotee to relish and taste it fully. For this reason, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the supreme teacher, accepts the form of a devotee and accepts Lord Nityananda as his elder brother. Sri Advaita Acharya is Lord Chaitanya's incarnation as a devotee. Therefore, these three tattvas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Goswami, are the predominators or masters. One of them is Mahaprabhu, and the other two are Prabhus. These two Prabhus serve the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. The three predominators, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Prabhu, are worshipable by all living entities, and the fourth principle, Sri Gadadhara Prabhu, is to be understood as their worshipper. There are innumerable pure devotees of Lord, headed by Srivasa Thakura, who are known as unalloyed devotees. The devotees headed by Gadadhara Pandita are to be considered incarnations of the internal potency of the Lord. They are confidential devotees engaged in the service of the Lord. The internal devotees on potencies are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. Only with them does the Lord advent to propend the Sankirtana movement. Only with them does the Lord taste the mellow of conjugal love, and only with them does he distribute this love of God to people in general. The characteristics of Krishna are understood to be a storehouse of transcendental love. Although that storehouse of love certainly came with Krishna when he was present, it was sealed. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with his associates of the Panchatattva, they broke the seal and plundered the storehouse to taste the transcendental love of Krishna. The more they tasted it, the more their thirst for it grew. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Saraswati Mataji, please can you continue till 30th verse? Hare Krishna. Saraswati Mataji. Chandramouli Prabhuji, please can you read?
Yeah, sure. Hare Krishna.
27.
Hare Krishna. Sri Panchatattva themselves danced again and again, and thus made it easier to drink nectarian love of Godhead. They danced, cried, laughed, and chanted like madmen, and in this way they distributed love of Godhead. 23, text 23. In distributing love of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates did not consider who was a fit candidate and who was not, nor where such distribution should or should not take place. They made no conditions wherever they got the opportunity. The members of the Panchatattva distributed love of Godhead. Text 24. Although the members of the Panchatattva plundered the storehouse of love of Godhead and ate and distributed contents, there was no scarcity, for this wonderful storehouse is so complete that as the love is distributed, the supply chain increases hundreds of times. Text 25. The flood of love of Godhead swelled in all directions, and thus young men, old men, women, and children were all immersed in that inundation. Text 26. The Krishna consciousness movement will inundate the entire world and drown in everywhere, whether one be a gentleman, a rogue, or even a lame, invalid, or blind. Text 27. When the 5 members of the Panchatattva saw the entire world drowned in love of Godhead, and the seed of material enjoyment in the living entity is completely destroyed, they all become exceedingly happy. Text 28. The more the five members of the Panchatattva cause the rains of love of Godhead to fall, the more the inundation increases and spreads all over the world. Text 29:30. The impersonalists, fruitive workers, false logicians, blasphemes, non-devotees, and the lowest among the student community are very expert in avoiding the Krishna consciousness movement, and therefore the inundation of Krishna consciousness cannot touch them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Prabhuji, please can you continue till 40 text? Hare Krishna. Hare Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, shall I read?
Yeah, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Okay, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Seeing that the Mayavadis and others were fleeing. 1 minute, Prabhuji, let me just put my specs. Yeah, fleeing. Lord Chaitanya thought I wanted everyone to be immersed in this inundations of love of Godhead, but some of them have escaped. Therefore, I shall devise a trick to drown them also. Thus, the Lord accepted the sannyasa order of life after full consideration. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained in householder life for 24 years, and on the verge of his 25th year, he accepted the sannyasa's order. After accepting the sannyasa order, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu attached the attention of all those who had evaded him, beginning with the logicians. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare
Krishna will continue till 40th text. You're reading Hare Krishna Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
Yeah, continue till 40th text.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thus, the students in fields, fruitive workers, and critics all came to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya excused them all, and they merged into the ocean of devotional service, for no one can escape the unique loving network of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to deliver all the fallen souls. Therefore, he devised many methods to liberate them from the clutches of Maya. All were converted into devotees of Lord Chaitanya, even the Malichas and Yavanas. Only the impersonalist followers of Shankaracharya evaded him. While Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through Varanasi on his way to Vrindavan, the Mayavadi sannyasis philosophers blasphemed against him in many ways. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Arya Prabhuji is there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Can you continue till 50th text?
Okay, Prabhuji. The blasphemer said, although sannyasi, he does not take interest in the study of Vedanta, but instead always engages in chanting and dancing in Sankirtana. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an illiterate sannyasi and therefore does not know his real function. Guided only by sentiments, he wanders about in the company of other sentimentalists. Hearing all this blasphemy, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu merely smiled to himself, rejected all these accusations, and did not talk with the Mayavadis. Thus, neglecting the blasphemy of the Varanasi Mayavadis, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded to Mathura, and after visiting Mathura, he returned to meet the situation. This time, Lord Chaitanya stayed at the house of Chandrasekhara. Although he was regarded as a Shudra or Kshatriya, Kashta, for the Lord, as the Supreme Personality Godhead, is completely independent. As a matter of principle, Lord Chaitanya regularly accepted his food at the house of Tapana Mishra. He never mixed with other sannyasis, nor did he accept invitations from them. As a matter of principle, Lord Chaitanya regularly accepted his food. 46th verse. Regularly accepted his food at the house of Tapana Mishra. He never mixed with other sannyasis, nor did he accept invitations from them. When Sanatana Goswami came from Bengal, he met Lord Chaitanya at the house of Tapana Mishra, where Lord Chaitanya remained continuously for 2 months to teach him devotional service. On the basis of scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, which reveal their confidential direction, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami regarding all the regular activities of a devotee. While Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing Sanatana Goswami, both Chandrasekhara and Tapana Mishra became very unhappy. Therefore, they submitted an appeal onto the lotus feet of the Lord. How long can we tolerate the blasphemy by our critics against your conduct? We should give up our lives rather than hear such blasphemy. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Text 51. The Mayavadi sannyasis all are criticizing your holiness. We cannot tolerate hearing such criticism, for this blasphemy breaks our hearts. While Tapana Mishra and Chandrasekhara were thus talking with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he only smiled slightly and remained silent. At the time a Brahmana came there to meet the Lord. The Brahmana immediately fell at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and requested him to accept his proposal in a joyful mood. My dear Lord, I have invited all the sannyasis of Banaras to my home. My desires will be fulfilled if you also accept my invitation. My dear Lord, I know that you are never mixed with other sannyasis, but please be merciful unto me and accept my invitation. Lord Chaitanya smiled and accepted the invitation of the Brahmana. He made this gesture to show his mercy to the Mayavadi sannyasis. The Brahmana knew that the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never went to anyone else's house. Yet, due to inspiration from the Lords, he earnestly requested him to accept this invitation. The next day, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the house of the Brahmana, he saw all the sannyasis of Banaras sitting there. As soon as the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the sannyasis, he immediately offered obeisances, and then he went to wash his feet. After washing his feet, he sat down by his place where he had done so. Text 6. After sitting on the ground, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his majestic power by manifesting the effulgence as brilliant as the illumination of millions of suns. Hare Krishna. So my wife is reading, Prabhuji. Text 61.
When the sannyasis saw the brilliant illumination of the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their mind were attracted and they all immediately gave up their sitting places and stood in respect. 62. The leader of all the Mayavadi sannyasis present was named Prakashananda Saraswati, and after standing up, addressed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as follows with great respect. Text 63. Please come here. Please come here. Your Holiness, why do you sit in that unclean place? What has caused your lamentation? Text 64. The Lord replied, I belong to a lower order of sannyasis. Therefore, I do not deserve to sit with you. Prakashananda Saraswati, however, caught Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally by the hand and seated him with great respect in the midst of the assembly. Prakashananda Saraswati then said, I understand that your name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. You are a disciple of Sri Keshava Bharati, and therefore you are glorious. Glorious. Text 67. You belong to our Shankara Sampradaya and live in our village, Varanasi. Why then do you not associate with us? Why is it that you avoid even seeing us? Text 68. You are a sannyasi. Why then do you indulge in chanting and dancing, engaging in your Sankirtana movement in the company of fanatics? Text 69. Meditation and the study of Vedanta are the sole duties of a sannyasi. Why do you abandon these to dance with fantasies?
Fanatics.
Fanatics.
Text 70. Last.
Text 70. You look as brilliant as if you were Narayana himself. Will you kindly explain the reason that you have adopted the behavior of lower class people? Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Samyukta Mataji, please can you continue till text 80 from 71?
Okay. Text 71. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to Prakashananda Saraswati, "My dear sir, kindly hear the reason. My spiritual master considered me a fool. Therefore, he chastised me. You are a fool," he said. "You are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy, and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the essence of all mantras or Vedic hymns. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can obtain freedom from material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. In this age of Kali, there is no religious principle other than chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all Vedic hymns. This is the purport of all scriptures." After describing the potency of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, my spiritual master taught me another words, advising me to always keep it within my throat. For spiritual progress in this age of Kali, there is no alternative, there is no alternative, there is no alternative to the holy name, to the holy name, the holy name, the holy name of the Lord. Text 77. Since I received this order from my spiritual master, I always chant the holy name, but I thought that by chanting the holy name, I had been bewildered. While chanting the holy name of the Lord in pure ecstasy, I lose myself, and thus I laugh, cry, dance, and sing just like a madman. Collecting my patience, therefore, I began to consider that chanting the holy name of the Krishna had covered all my spiritual knowledge. I saw that I had come mad by chanting the holy name, and I immediately submitted this at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Anya Mataji, please can you continue till text 90?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My dear Lord, what kind of mantra have you given me? I have become mad simply by chanting this Maha Mantra. Chanting the holy name in ecstasy causes me to dance, laugh, and cry. When my spiritual master heard all this, he smiled and then began to speak. It is the nature of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra that anyone who chants it immediately develops his loving ecstasy for Krishna. Religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation are known as the four goals of life. But before love of Godhead, the fifth and highest goal, these appear as insignificant as straw in the street. For a devotee who has actually developed bhava, the pleasure derived from dharma, artha, kama, and moksha appears like a drop in the presence of the sea. The conclusion of all revealed scriptures is that one should awaken his dominant love of Godhead. You are greatly fortunate to have already done so. It is a characteristic of love of Godhead that by nature it induces transcendental symptoms in one's body and makes one more and more greedy to achieve the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. When one actually develops love of Godhead, he naturally sometimes cries, sometimes laughs, sometimes chants, and sometimes runs here and there just like a madman. Perspiration, trembling, standing on end of one's bodily hairs, tears, faltering voice, fading complexion, madness, melancholy, patience, pride, joy, and humility. These are various natural symptoms of the ecstatic love of Godhead, which causes a devotee to dance and float in an ocean of transcendental bliss while chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Chandramani Prabhuji, please can you read till text 100?
Hare Krishna. Text 91. It is very good, my dear child, that you have attained the supreme goal of life by developing love of Godhead. Thus you have pleased me very much, and I am very much obliged to you. Text 92. My dear child, continue dancing, chanting, and performing Sankirtana in association with the devotees. Furthermore, go out and preach the value of chanting Hare Krishna Nama, for by this process you will be able to deliver all fallen souls. Text 93. Saying this, my spiritual master taught me a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the essence of all the Bhagavatams in sessions. Therefore, he recited this verse again and again. Text 94. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated, and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Text 95 to 96. I firmly believe in the words of my spiritual master, and therefore I always chant the holy name of the Lord alone and in the association of the devotees. That holy name of Lord Krishna sometimes causes me to chant and dance, and therefore I chant and dance. Please do not think that I intentionally do it. I do it automatically. Text 97. Compared to the ocean of transcendental bliss that one tastes by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, the pleasure derived from the impersonal Brahman realization, Brahmananda, is like the shallow water in the canal. Text 98. My dear Lord, O Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss has taken the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in the ocean, I now realize all other so-called happiness to be like the water obtained in the hoof print of calf. Text 99. After hearing Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the Mayavadi sannyasis were moved. Their minds changed, and thus they spoke with the pleasant, pleasing words. Text 100. Dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what you have said is all true. Only one who is favored by fortune attains love of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Praveen Prabhuji, please can continue from
Yes.
1 to 01.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dear sir, there is no objection to your being a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Everyone is satisfied with this. But why do you avoid discussion on the Vedanta Sutra? What is the fault in it? After hearing the Mayavadi sannyasi speak in that way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled slightly and said, "My dear sirs, if you don't mind, I can say something to you regarding Vedanta philosophy." Hearing this, the Mayavadi sannyasi became somewhat humble and addressed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a Narayana himself, who they all agreed he was. Dear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they said, to tell you the truth, we are greatly pleased to hear your words, and furthermore, your bodily features are so pleasing that we feel extraordinary satisfaction in seeing you. Dear sir, by your influence, our minds are greatly satisfied, and we believe that your words will never be unreasonable. Therefore, you may speak on the Vedanta Sutra. The Lord said, Vedanta philosophy consists of words spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, in the form of Vyasadeva. The material defects of mistakes, illusions, cheating, and sensory inefficiency do not exist in the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The absolute truth is described in the Upanishad and Brahma Sutra. What one must understand the verses as they are. That is the supreme glory in understanding. Siripada Sankaracharya has described all the Vedic literature in terms of indirect meaning. One who hears such explanation is ruined. Sankaracharya is not at fault, for it is under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that he has covered the real purport of the Vedas. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you. So, Aryan Prabhuji, can you continue? We start.
Yes, Roji. According to direct understanding, the absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has all spiritual opulence. No one can be equal to or greater than him. Everything about the Supreme Personality of Godhead is spiritual, including his body, opulence, and paraphernalia. Mayavada philosophy, however, covering his spiritual opulence, advocates the theory of impersonalism. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is full of spiritual potencies. Therefore, his body, name, fame, and entourage are all spiritual. The Mayavadi philosopher, due to ignorance, says that these are all merely transformations of the material mode of goodness. Shankaracharya, who is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, is faultless because he is a servant carrying out the orders of the Lord. But those who follow Mayavadi philosophy are doomed. They will lose all their advancement in spiritual knowledge. One who considers the transcendental body of Lord Vishnu to be made of material nature is the greatest offender at the lotus feet of the Lord. There is no greater blasphemy against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is like a blazing fire, and the living entities are like little small sparks of that fire. The living entities are energy, not the energetic. The energetic is Krishna. This is very vividly described in the Bhagavad Gita, the Vishnu Purana, and other Vedic literature. Besides these inferior energies, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. The potency of Lord Vishnu is summarized in three categories, namely the spiritual potency, the living entities, and ignorance. The spiritual potency is full of knowledge. The living entities, all the belonging to the spiritual potency, are subject to bewilderment. And the third energy, which is full of ignorance, is always visible in fruitive activities. The Mayavada's philosophy is so degraded that it has taken the insignificant living entities to be the Lord. And the supreme truth, thus covering the glory and supremacy of the absolute truth, will be monism. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, Prabhuji, we'll continue sloka or what will do? Praveen Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So, Mataji and Prabhuji, anybody wants to join in sloka recitation?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can join, Prabhuji.
Okay, Samyukta Mataji. So whoever wants to join, please join. So I am stopping here. We'll continue from tomorrow, from 121, text to 121. Okay.
Sure, Prabhuji.
So let me know once it is visible.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see.
Samyukta Mataji, please can you recite the slokas? We'll follow you, and Praveen Prabhuji will recite the translation.
Prabhuji, this is 7.5. This is old one, Prabhuji.
You're doing BG like second chapter, second unit only, Prabhuji, because our exam is not done, Prabhuji.
Oh, okay. Okay, Prabhuji, no problem. I will join, Prabhuji. I have already done, but okay, no problem.
Okay. Sandhya Mataji or Samyukta Mataji, are you there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Can you recite sloka, Mataji? We'll follow you. Two lines.
Okay, Prabhuji.
So
First 2 lines, next 4 lines, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Two lines at a time and 4 lines at a time. Praveen Prabhuji will read the translation. We'll complete one time and we'll wrap up.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Bhagavad Gita 7.5. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param.
Apareyam
itastvanyam prakatim vidhi me param.
Jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedham dharyate jagat.
Jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedham dharyate jagat.
Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param. Jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedham dharyate jagat.
Apareyam itastvanyam prakatim vidhi me param. Jiva bhuta mahabhavo yayedam dharyate jagat.
You can read translation.
Translation. Beside these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Continue, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Daivihesha gunamayi mama maya durachaya.
Devi gunamayi mama maya durataya.
Mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite.
Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite.
दैविहेषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया माम् एव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते
देवी भैष गुणामयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायाम् एतां तरन्ति ते. Translation. Oh, sorry. 4 times, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, I did Prabhuji 4 times.
Okay. This
4
divine
times.
energy, this divine energy of mind, consisting of the 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it.
Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Bahunam janmanamante gnanavan mam prapadyate.
Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate.
Vasudeva sarvam iti samahatma sudurlabha.
Vasudeva sarvam iti samahatma durlabha.
Bahunam janmanamante gnanavan mam prapadyate. Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha.
Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Vasudeva sarvam iti samahatma sudurlabha. Translation. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare.
Bhagavad Gita 8.5. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram.
Antakale cha mameva marana muktva kalevaram.
Yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayaha.
Ya paryati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samsyaha.
Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. Yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayaha.
Antakale cha mameva smarana muktva kalevaram. Ya paryati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samsyaha. Translation. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Bhagavad Gita 8.16. Abrahma bhuvanaloka punaravartino arjuna.
Abrahma bhuvanaloka punar avaratino arjuna.
Mam upetyatu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate.
Mamu pentyatu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate.
Abrahma bhuvanaloka punaravartino arjuna. Mam upetyatu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate.
Abrahma bhuvanaloka punar avartino arjuna. Mamu petyatu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Translation. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
Bhagavad Gita 9.2. Rajavidya rajaguhyam pavitram idamuttamam.
Rajavidya rajaguhyam pavitram idam uttamam.
Pratyaksha-vagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam.
Pratyaksha-vagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyam.
Rajavidya rajaguhyam pavitram idamuttamam. Pratyaksha-vagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam.
Rajavidya rajaguhyam pavitram idam uttamam. Pratyaksha-vagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyam. Translation. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self, by realization. It is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed.
Bhagavad Gita 9.4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina.
Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtinah.
Matsani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavastitaha.
Matsthani sarvabhutani na chaham te sav avstitah.
Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. Mastani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavastitaha.
Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtinah. Matsthani sarvabhutani na chaham te sav avstitah. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them.
Bhagavad Gita 9.14. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata.
Satatam
Satatam kirtyanto mam yatantascha dridvrita.
Namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate.
Namasantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate.
Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate.
Satatam
Satatam kirtanto mam yatantascha dridvrita. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Translation. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
Bhagavad Gita 9.25. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitruvrata.
Yanti deva krata pitrim yanti pitar vrata.
Bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajino api mam.
Bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajino apimam.
Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitruvrata. Bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajino api mam.
Yanti deva
Vrata devam pitrin yanti pitar vrata. Bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajino apimam. Translation. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me.
Bhagavad Gita 9.26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati.
Tadaham bhaktya upahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha.
Tadaham bhaktya upahritam ashnami paryatatmanaha.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. Tadaham bhaktya upahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. Tadaham bhakti upaharitam ashnami paryatatmana.
Translation. Translation. If one offers me,
Yeah, read Prabhuji, otherwise I will read.
Yeah. If one offers me with love, devotion, a leaf, a flower, a fruit or water, I will accept it.
Bhagavad Gita 9.27. Yat karosi yadasnasi yajjuhoti dadasi yat.
Yat karosi yadasnasi yajhosi tadhasi yat.
यत् तपस्यासि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुस्व मदर्पणम्
यत् तपस्येति कौन्तेय तत् कुरुष्व मदर्पणम्
यत् करोसि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोसि ददासि यत् यत् तपस्यासि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुस्व मदर्पणम्
यत् करोसि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोसि ददासि यत् तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत् कुरुष्व मदर्पणम्. Translation: whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me.
Bhagavad Gita 9.29 Samoham sarvabhuteshu na me dveshosti na priya.
Samoham sarvabhuteshu na me dvesho asti na priya.
Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham.
Ye bhajanti tu mam kauntya mai teshu chapyaham.
Samoham sarvabhuteshu na me dveshosti na priya. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham.
Samoham sarvabhuteषु मे द्वेषो अस्ति न प्रियः न भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि तेषु चाप्यहम्. Translation: I envy no one, nor am partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him.
Bhagavad Gita 10.8 Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate.
Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate.
Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita.
Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita.
Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita.
Aham sarvasya prabhavo matah sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. Translation: I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts.
Bhagavad Gita 10.10 Tesham satata yuktana bhajatam priti purvakam.
Tesam satata yuktanam bhaktam priti purvakam.
Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te.
Tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te.
Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te.
Tesam satata yuktanam bhaktam priti purvakam. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Translation: to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for very
Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
कृपा सिंधु पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो नमः.
कोटि
वैष्णव वृंद की जय.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Happy Krishna Consciousness Day.